we at? 0, 0,
yeah.
Hey guys, Phaetox and Epicadin here from Team Auxiliary. We're going to be doing some jungle commentary today. We chose this video in particular because it's really good at showing adaptive play and how you can change your game plan in a very reactive situation. Udyr, very strong counter jungler versus this Rengar. Rengar doesn't quite hit his power spike to level 6, so he has to path accordingly and make sure that he stays away from Udyr early game, and then find opportunities away from him to make sure that he doesn't get counter ganked, stuff like that. So we'll go ahead and segue into the game here.
Alright, the important thing here is to know is when you're coming into the game to have a somewhat adaptable game plan. I can already tell looking at the two team comps that we do not ever really want to 5v5. We want to catch picks on them, we want to catch them out of position, we want to force them to 4v5. We never want to 5v5 them because their 5v5 potential with Twitch, LeBlanc, Nami, Jace is just, it's really, really good compared to us who have, you know, Rengar, Zed, Rise, who, don't get me wrong, are good champions, but in a 5v5 situation, the 5v5 team fight potential isn't quite there.
Yeah, so, we have strong champions, but not all of them have the same goals in mind. Like, Rise is a very team fight oriented champion, but Annie has good initiate, but right in this comp that we have already formed, we use her for pick potential. We use Rengar's ult very similarly to catch people off guard, get picks, and snowball objectives and pressure off of that.
So we're going to get this replay started, and just want to let you know, like, so my game plan coming into this game is to just power to 6 or even hit 6 and try to apply pressure on the map once I hit 6. And I want to stay as far away from Udyr for the most part as possible, because I know if he catches me or if I, like, in any situation in the jungle, like, he's probably going to kill me before my team has the opportunity to react and defend whatever we're trying to defend inside of our jungle. So I'm just going to try and stay away from him as much as possible, hit 6, and then start ganking lanes with ulti and pressuring.
Okay, but before we get too far in, we're going to go ahead and mention the runes and masteries here real quick.
Alright, so for runes and masteries, I like running 2109 for masteries. It pretty much gives you the fastest crew that you could possibly get with any jungler for the most part. The extra runic affinity gives you the extra buff duration, allowing you to stay in your jungle a little bit longer. And then for runes, I like to run attack speed quintessences and
30 seconds
yellows,
until minions spawn,
and cooldown reduction blues and attack damage reds. Now the reason for this is I like running the cooldown reduction to reduce the duration on your, or reduce the time on your
in between your abilities and on your ult in general,
right,
so that you can gank more often.
And then I like the attack speed because it increases your clear time. And then I like the attack damage because it helps with your clear time, but it also gives you a little bit more power when ganking. So
yeah, you don't want to go full, because if you go full attack speed, you have the fastest clear, but then your ganks are weaker because you don't have as much burst damage.
Right, so I like doing a little bit of both so that I can have a little best of the both worlds. Nothing really happens much here at level 1, a little trading back and forth, but both junglers start at their blue. Once again, I just want to power clear. Knowing that I'm starting at my blue and that Udyr is a significantly stronger jungler, like in the forms of 1v1ing in the jungle, I make sure I tell or communicate to my top lane that you need to hold my red, just in case Udyr goes to my red buff and I'm not there, or I am there, he kills me, I'm not there, he uses my buff. It's not a situation that I want to be in. So, thanks to him winning that, we will catch Udyr running from his blue buff towards jungle. Now, normally here I would go buff to this little camp, and then I would hit level 3 off of my second buff, but because I immediately start reacting and running to make sure that he doesn't come in here and take my top side jungle.
Now luckily he didn't go straight to the red, he does just stop there and ward and kind of start doing race, so he sees Rengar come in, which, you know, once he sees that Rengar's here and that he sees that his lanes aren't necessarily collapsing, and because he's in our jungle we would collapse faster, he just goes ahead and leaves. Now, this is really important right here because even though Udyr showed that he was leaving, we don't have vision of him. That ward did expire, so we can't tell if he's coming back in or not. So instead of starting the buff right away, Rengar waits a little bit, sees if, tries to find out if Udyr is going to be cheeky and come back in on him. Because you'll see right here how much damage he takes from red, and he had started it right away, and Udyr had came back in. Udyr would have found him at half health, and that would have been for him.
Right, so it's a situation where I erred on the side of caution, making sure that Udyr did not get the opportunity for him to capitalize on something, you know, a mistake, and that would have put me even further behind, and I'm already a jungler I'm behind. So right here, there's two types of jungle pathing that you can do. There's linear, and then there's big. You go from one side of your jungle straight through every camp to the other side. So with that jungle pathing, it leaves a lot of opportunity for you to gank lanes because you can always go right back to the But what I'm doing here is called a fixed. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go from a big camp, like gold, to a little camp, like raids, and then when you see here, I'm going to walk right past wolves. Or actually, no, I forget. We are putting in the middle, so I take this opportunity to go ahead and take this mid-lane farm and experience. Whenever you as a jungler, especially more so if you're a farming jungler, you're trying to hurry to get to 6, if you get the opportunity to take experience and gold from lane, take that opportunity is really important because it gives you a bonus on top of what you're about to go back into your jungle and farm.
Alright, so now we see him pass wolves so this kind of delays the spawn timers a little bit. It looks a little awkward because he did pause to cover mid a little bit. But generally the general idea is that you get that one small camp so you have more overall uptime. So you can move back to it, and then by the time you're done with that, you would go back into your top jungle, past wraiths, and go to golems, and then go back to wraiths. Kind of do a little move back and forth, figure eight, infinity side, whatever you want to call it.
So basically, you just have to small camps back to back. Like you'll skip the small camps every time you get into the other half of the jungle. So like you said, I'm gonna go into the top half. I'm gonna skip wraiths and go straight to golems. And this allowed me to keep farming camps consecutively back and forth throughout my jungle. And it increases your clear time, not drastically, but enough for it to matter. So it's just something to keep in mind.
You generally get more farm within any amount of time that way. You generally want to do the figure eight when you're looking to power clear level, trying to hit 6 fast, when you're not going to be going to any of the lanes anytime soon. And then when you're planning a gank or you're about to hit that gold level where you want to go back and buy with it, your last clear will be linear so that you have that opportunity to go back and buy or go.
So I see you're coming mid from a ward that's high. Should be relatively okay. That's a pretty mobile champion, really hard to lock down. But this ward's really important because this ward gives me vision of Udyr going into the bottom half of the map. Now, I realize I'm in the bottom half of the map, and I see that bot lane is pushed up. And now, because bot lane's pushed up, Udyr's got one of two things that he can really do with the way that he's pathing into the jungle. He can either come into my jungle and counter jungle something, catch me, or he can come in and dive bottom. One of the two things are going to happen, and because I feel like he's more prepared to come in and invade, I make sure that I play this extra cautiously, and
at this point, our bot lane had just got a double kill, so we don't think that he's really going to try to go in and dive them when they already have a little advantage.
So I ward my Ruba, and after warding my Ruba, I go ahead and check my wolf, just to make sure. And he is here, neither one of us is on each other, he gets my big wolf, and like I'm coming around to react. I'm not per se trying to fight him. I thought that Zed would have ran this direction, he would have come in and helped. But because he didn't, like I realized that LeBlanc's collapsing and I'm not going to be able to secure that kill, so I just go ahead and, play it safe and back out. I go clear my wolf, and at this point, I do realize that in 25 seconds my buff is coming up, but I'm really low health, and the possibility for Udyr coming in after that situation is way of a risk.
And he did drop that ward on it, so even if he goes back and Udyr comes in here, we can collapse and defend it until he gets there.
Right. And then, like I said, I have bot lane pushing out so that I let them know, like, hey guys, my blue buff's up, and you shot me, and not hurt.
And a big thing with his decision making here is we have our top lane just fell behind, and so did our mid lane, both from Udyr ganks. So Udyr has snowballed his solo lanes a little bit, but Ryze is going to have a tougher time coming back into that matchup just because Jace is pretty much a hard counter top lane. Zed should have an easier time past like level 5 or 6. So Rengar knows that his bot lane is ahead and solo lanes are a little behind. Right here, I think. So and he dies here. Doesn't die though, so that's good. So, but he's going to go ahead and here. Now he has his high game potential, so he's going to start making the impact bot lane.
Immediately. I make sure that I kill blue buff with 5 ferocity. And I know that bot lane, like Twitch just got a kill on Ant, and he got pushed on the lane, so I know he's low enough health for me, so sure coming through. no contestation, easy kill on Twitch, and I'm already starting to apply pressure as soon as I hit 6. So I'm gonna clean up a couple minions, and then I'm gonna head back into the jungle. And basically, I'm glad that like it's really good to ulti, like especially if like a long cooldown, like high gank kill potential ulti like Rengar, not starting stuff like that, to go ahead and get blue buff so that you reduce the cooldown of it.
Yeah, because if you use it and then get blue buff, the CDR doesn't apply to your already on cooldown ability. So you want to make sure you get it before.
Alright, so something important with my decision-making process here. I realized that Udyr had ganked top, he killed Ryze. This is like his 3rd gank top. So I come to the realization that Udyr is going to be top side a lot of this game. We just got the kill on Twitch bot lane. Nami had backed after I had killed Twitch. And like Zed should be heading back to lane relatively soon. But I make the comment, I make the call, I said Udyr's probably going to go steal my red. Now what happens here is Zed tries to go up here and defend the red. And I come in here, and Annie follows me shortly thereafter to come and steal his red. The problem with this, though, is we need more support in taking his red than we need defending ours. We should have consciously decided that we were going to take this red.
Forfeited ours, so Zed could have came, and Lucian unfortunately stayed with 2. So here we could have had a 4v3 even if LeBlanc had come, but because I stayed towards the top half of the map and Lucian was late coming in, it actually turned into a 2v2, and with LeBlanc collapsing, possibly a 2v3 in their favor. So it's really important to realize, like, you want to counter pressure. Udyr's in our top jungle, so we want to counter pressure their bot jungle, but you have to understand when you're able to do that and then when you risk to back out.
So I would have taken the kill on Nami, but LeBlanc gets the kill on me. Actually, a brief second. So ultimately, there wasn't a good trade. For one, and just barely. Like I said, we should have just had everyone collapse their bottom jungle like Udyr had that top up. I mean, we got it anyway. So.
And we ended up not getting there, so we didn't even trade bugs, unfortunately.
Right, so that's why it's really important when you're invading that you're communicating that with your team. It's really important for them to respond and support you when you're invading. So we'll talk about the build just a little bit here while we have the opportunity. So Udyr did take my red buff. He got out of top pretty clean. So now he's starting to out-farm me. He's starting to get ahead in the sense that he's farming better. He's applying more pressure on the map. But with my build in mind, I go ahead and go Spirit Stone, 3 Doran's Blades, and then I'm going to turn this Longsword into a Tiamat. So the rationale behind it is that you get a pretty big mid-game power spike from 3 Doran's Blades, and the Spirit Stone kind of helps you clear a little bit healthier, a little bit faster. And right here, I have the opportunity to gank top because he's got the lane push up, and I can easily get into these bushes. So I tell my top laner that I'm going to be coming in to go ahead and force me Jade. Now Jade has been ganked, or had Udyr gank his lane 3 or 4 times. He's feeling pretty unstoppable. I haven't even showed top yet.
So he's really confident here. Ryze is already half health because he lost that trade right beforehand, so it baits Chase in.
So I'm on the opportunity to help out my Ryze team when they come in here, get a flag, and I'm going to dive to them. Udyr's bottom half of the map because while he took my red, I wasn't able to take his red, so I'm pretty confident he's in the bottom half of the map taking his red. So I'm going to just go ahead and clear up some of these minions, and me and Ryze are going to back out here and start the room up here.
How they push that wave all the way to the tower and make sure the tower would get the kills before Jace respawn. Normally that's more important when the enemy top laner is running teleport. You really want to use that death timer and have as many minions die within that period as possible. Luckily he didn't have teleport this game, so he's going to miss a whole lot more minions than he normally would.
Alright, so now I popped up top just a little bit. Top laner is still winning in CS. It's surprising if that they were pretty close in gold. They're about 100 gold off of each other, even though Ryze has been ganked like 3 or 4 times by Udyr. So it's really good that Ryze is doing that well off, all things considered. The other one now, after giving up first blood to LeBlanc, and he's double her farm. So the chances of becoming mid are very low. And then we have bot lane who just gave up 2 kills, or 1 kill. I think Twitch got the kill on Annie, and then they were able to dragon off of that because of Rengar's really low objective control potential. So
Yeah, so our bot lane had that early double kill, but then they fell behind after that. Our Annie's died 3 times now, and with the isolation of top, you saw Rengar just went top and we forfeited Dragon for it, and then I'm already doing well mid, so he's going to focus a lot of attention bot lane in these next few minutes using his ulti to gank down there every time.
right. So like at this stage in the game, I understand that. It looks like okay, bot lane just got the kill on Nami. So like bot lane's not entirely out of the game. I don't consider them out of the game, but I just want to help out a little bit. But right here, this is Udyr. Me and Udyr haven't clashed in quite some time in this game. We're probably relatively close in gold, about 100 gold. But because we haven't actually fought each other or seen each other for the most part, he doesn't know how strong I am.
So he's not respecting the Rengar power right now, or the fact that he can collapse very quickly from almost anywhere in the map because of his ulti.
So he comes in here, and it's a pretty sure kill for him to get this on Zed, but like you said, he's not respecting the Rengar's ability to be here. And I just ult here. He basically gives me the red buff that he stole from me, and you know, he puts himself a little bit further behind. In that situation, he shouldn't have chased that far. He should have gave Rengar a little bit more respect to be able to be there. And he pretty much just threw away a little bit of his advantage that he had been building up this entire time.
So, but that's another a strength of the figure 8 clears, because you stay away from a lot of the map for so long that when you farm up and you hit that power spike, the enemies aren't aware of that, whereas if you're constantly skirmishing and ganking, you may get successful ganks off, you may snowball your lane and stuff like that, but they'll be more aware of your power, so they'll probably play safer in situations and not use the fix.
So I'm just sitting here catching up some farm while Zed's on the back. So I'm not trying to push the lane because I know Zed's winning, so I want to keep Zed winning, and I'm going to do everything in my power to keep Zed winning because it's pretty integral for him to be pretty strong going into the late game as well. So I'm going to come in here, I'm going to clear my jungle, so I see another opportunity to play. So I realize I see your bot lane, running around bot lane, trying to gank. So I really want to stay on my bottom half of the jungle, because as we said earlier, I don't want my bottom to fall behind. I know Zed's winning middle, and I know Rise is behind the lane right now, but still going even in gold. So I really want to just make sure that my bot lane doesn't fall behind. So I stay in the bottom half just to make sure Udyr's not staying there.
Yeah, he doesn't run the last one and come in again, then he actually leaves, and then they're safe. So now we got both of the buffs in the top half of the jungles back up.
I see Udyr here coming into mid on Zed. Zed, once again, pretty mobile, not easy to gank. I'm going to get away from this, no problem. And then this gives me the opportunity to go in bottom. I tell Annie to go in, and he flash Tibbers. Gets the stun off, flashes away, still not enough. Gets to go here, and now this is a pretty important play, because off of this play, I want you to understand that I knew my red buff was up. I knew Udyr went from mid, chased Zed down, and then went into my top side jungle. So I know that Udyr is going to take my red buff again.
Uncontested, nothing we can do about it. So
right.
Instead, counter pressure.
Right, so what I do is bot lane's left bot lane. They're going to get this kill on Nami, and they're going to be able to take this turret. And I just stay around just to make sure that the bot lane's able to do that. I know that the red buff's not up because he took his red buff after he took mine. So I'm just basically just waiting here, making sure that they're able to get everything that we need to counter that pressure bot lane. But what happens here is Rise gets to go to the top. I mean, it's unfortunate. He's strong. Not really much to do about it at this point in time. We know Rise is going to feel a lot better than most of these people. So you just gotta bide your time and not get behind, or not get too far behind somebody not.
Yeah, because even though Rise is 0-4, he has the same farm as Chase. Chase doesn't snowball that into a hard gold advantage. He has a little bit of a gold advantage because of the kills that he has and because his team has gotten the drag. But,
So, Twitch gets the shutdown on Lucian. I do not have my ulti up quite yet, but I've got 4 stacks of ferocity, and I'm feeling pretty confident. The only problem is all my confidence sitting in my bank. I'm sitting on 2,500 gold, and I'm just going to try to build this. So, for all intents and purposes, has the same amount of gold as me, and he's got a lot more spin. So I end up coming in here and that was a mistake on my part for trying to fight him sitting on as much gold as I was sitting on. So I'm going to go ahead and go back, I'm going to upgrade to that TMS that I said, and I'm going to buy mobile so that I can start applying pressure a lot more often on that.
Yeah, so even if you feel like you're ahead, you always have to make sure that you've converted all of those objectives and ganks and everything that you've done well into actual power via spending that gold. Like, sitting on gold is okay for a certain amount of time, but eventually, if you never buy and you continuously kill your opponents, every time you kill them, you force them to go back to the base and buy. So they're going to start catching up in power if you never go back and buy.
Right, so it was just a mistake on my part not buying with that 2,500 gold, getting a little overconfident that I had been doing so well, and giving them the opportunity to increase the window for the So I see LeBlanc make this roll bottom. It's not good for my bot lane, but I know LeBlanc is pretty behind, so all you gotta do is challenge. So Lunar and LeBlanc are bottom. I do see both of them with this ward right here. There you go. I do see both of them leave the lane. So I know that Twitch is staying in this lane, and I have Zed right here protecting them, or LeBlanc from roaming back up. So we have vision of Lunar and LeBlanc, and I come in and kill on the So once again, you know, capitalizing on the enemy team not respecting the ability of Rengar to come in and get.
Yeah, so now Rengar had to wait there until we had vision on them leaving, because if he had gone in too early and LeBlanc and Udyr had came back in, that would have been a 2v3 in but because ISN was lurking in the bush, they're just pretty much scouting. We were able to pick up vision on two of their very more higher threats than their bot lane was at the moment, so it was safe to go.
Right. And it's just like I said, it's just more like playing to Rengar's strength. Like Rengar's extremely strong at picking off targets. Find those targets and pick them off. Give your team the opportunity to create an opportunity where you have the advantage, a clear numbers advantage over it. So we get a couple kills out here. Going on, then comes in, like, live teleportation. Like, I could come in here and take a kill, but instead I run into the bush to kind of guard Jace potentially flashing away. So there's no reason for me to really take that kill, and we come down here. Now here's an opportunity where we had originally made the call to do Dragon, but we know that Zed had to back, and that we have no Lucian, and that there's still 3 of them alive as well.
And also right here, Udyr is 1 level higher than Rengar, which means his smite is stronger. And Rengar doesn't necessarily have any good execute on Dragon. Like, he can double Q it if he times it right, but he has no percentage health damage, no percentage missing health damage, no real hard spike. Because Udyr's smite is stronger, they do have that steal potential. And aggressively, you know, he runs up and we realize, okay, let's back off and wait for Rengar's ult to come back off cooldown, wait for him to stack his ferocity back up, wait for Zed and Lucian to regroup with the rest of the team, because both teams have vision on the drag right now, so we know that even if we back off, they're not going to immediately go for it either. They just wanted to make sure that we weren't in that window, so we just, you know, we'll let it reset, we'll come back to it in a little bit.
Yeah, we'll come back to it. Well said. So once again, sitting on a little bit of money, not as much as I was before. So I'm just gonna try and clear up and wait for the next skirmish that we're gonna have.
Ryze had come mid to cover while I had backed.
I know I'm passing all kinds of ward here. Now this is really important. They've got vision on me. I've passed all kinds of wards. I should have known that this area was as warded up as it was, considering we were just contesting Dragon over it. So I try to force this play bottom. I tell bottom to go in, and they don't quite react as fast as I need them to make this gank work. So I end up forcing this play really hard. Because I feel like I've allocated my ulti, I feel like I have to force this play. And when I end up ultimately coming in, I go way too hard to die underneath the turret.
Yeah, so it's also a really good example of how, like, Rengar's ult lets him bypass wards, but if you get deep enough wards where you have vision of him before you turn your ult one, you can still get that vision of him trying to come in and back off in time.
So we end up getting a kill down here, and we still up here because we apply so much pressure bottom. And like I said, it was just a really big misplay, way too aggressive. The bot lane wasn't prepared to make the play, even though I used my ulti, I just didn't have it back off. So we just traded 4 kills for nothing basically. They're able to take their first gold advantage for pretty much for the game. But here I sell 2 Doran's Blades and I pick up a Last Whisper. It's a pretty significant power play to Rengar, more armor play, so you call penetration items more and more power.
You generally go to kill a couple Doran's Blades, get your team at, go Last Whisper into Ghost Blade into Black Cleaver.
Right. Because even though you're not really looking to try and kill high armor targets, the more armor allows you to completely obliterate those low armor targets. Red buff. Gonna try and stack up my ferocity. I know I have ult up, so I'm probably going to find somebody off one. They did just swing 2 turrets after getting those 4 kills, and I'm actually quite surprised they didn't pressure Dragon afterwards, but
that time was not too long at this point. So we did have that safety window where they weren't sure whether they were able to contest or not. So here, we posture up for Drag. Rengar knows that we're going to start Dragon, and basically what he's doing right here is stacking up his ferocity so that he can come in, ult, have that 5 stack, and really be able to fight. So, and we also have an advantage right here because our top lane has teleport and theirs doesn't, and we see Udyr go top. So Ryze is getting pressured really hard. Ryze actually goes down here, but because we know Udyr is top, we know that we have the number advantage.
And so right here we have a really spread formation, but this spread formation keeps their team pretty spread. We've got Zed and LeBlanc up on the top on both sides, and we already know Zed's more powerful, so this is a very favorable advantage to us. And we know that between the two of our bot lane, our ADC and support versus their ADC and support, we know that we're just probably equally as strong, but what they don't have is the fact that I've been successfully able to come over here unnoticed and come in here on the flank. So what's going to happen here is, as they're going to start to press them, I stealth up, I use vision on the Twitch, and now even though Twitch goes through the stealth, I still have vision on them. So at this situation right here, they understand on my team that I've already got the flank on them. I'm already going to go in and kill one of these players, and that all they need to do is collapse, and we've got this free kill and this Dragon. So as this play develops, Twitch is out of range, someone is on, kill on the ground, immediately rotate to Dragon. We do make a slight mistake here after the Dragon is back realizing that they were pushing the top, but instead we kind of hesitate. We hesitate and we try to rotate mid, thinking that we can base race them like 4v2, but they're so far ahead of us with a minion wave, there's no way we can win, so we end up back trying to stop their push. So, with that said though, pretty much the jungle is over. Now it's just a series of rotating, setting up picks, and then pushing while we have them outnumbered. We do end up going on to win this game because of doing, set objectives. We'll
playing to the strengths of our team comp, stuff like that.
We set up the picks, we kill somebody on their team, and then we press with 4 press with 5 against their 4, and we just continue to do that until we end up winning the game.
So with that being said, we're gonna go ahead and skip a little right here, and just because there was one more team fight where you played it really well, and I wanted to show them. I think it's the next Dragon fight.
Red team's turret has been destroyed.
We'll show you because it's really important. Just because this was a jungle commentary video, that's what we wanted to focus on. But we'll do one more just little Rengar tip right here, to where you see the proper way to play a team fight and fade it out. Use your ult. So Dragon up in 130. You can go ahead and skip to there. It might set up a oh no, we should be already there. Alright, you went too far. Yeah, because Dragon was back up and then it's gone already.
Oh yeah, we're right. Just got marks in the hat.
Alright, so it's live.
No, I go kill it by myself right now.
Oh, do you?
Yeah.
Is it the third Dragon? Okay, go for the third Dragon. Alright, here we go. 25 seconds.
Blue team is slain.
Alright, here it is. So this is the fight.
That's coming up.
Oh. You had it, and then... Oh, I guess because the fight had already started. Alright, so... bringing you guys back up to pace to where we are now.
Okay, so they've gotten the Baron. We kept it relatively close. We were able to take their inhibitor after setting up some picks.
Blue team
but
is
this
slaying
is
the dragon.
really important why you don't
Oh no, it wasn't here. Okay, so it's the next dragon.
Are you sure there is no another next dragon? Did we pass it?
Where was the when I flanked them from the red bush and you came in and used your ult to bait back and forth?
Yeah, I know which fight you're talking about, but I don't know where it's at. Yeah, we should have timed it. What happened? Oh, dragon's up right here. It's gotta be distracted.
There we go. Sorry about that, guys. Alright, so here, this is a pretty good example of how to know that we don't want a full-on, like, front lines clash into each other style of team fight. We really want to set up the pick and spread them apart so that our assassins can do their job with the isolated targets, stuff like that.
So, sorry about that. Now we finally actually got to play. So right here, we know Dragon's up. We know Uder's bot lane pushing the lane, and we can see that the bulk of their team is over here pressing in the middle side of the map. So we're gonna go to try to make a quick rotation to Dragon. No Udyr here, he's passing the board, and he's coming up. He's pretty caught, but he ends up running away, and we push this a little bit further than we probably should. This is right here where we decide that we're probably going to try to make a play here. Now what happens here is I make myself extremely vulnerable for their enemy team to collapse on me, and I know the rest of my team can follow up extremely well, so I force them to use a lot of stuff to try and kill me. So I immediately jump out of my ult right after getting out of the sun. As soon as I flash away, the Nami tries to hit, the Nami ult comes in, the Blanc ult and everyone's trying to press the first fight trying to get it. After we get the Nami kill, and I'm the only person really in a significant source of damage, I come back into the team fight, come myself, and say, hey guys, look at me. And I know that I've got that movement debuff, and I know my ferocity is about to start stacking up to give me that heal. So in order to press them off of my bot lane here, like I'm trying to like them. So Zed comes in on the backside here, forces their bot lane to come, or their two carries to run away, and they know that I'm in the bottom half here.
So we basically get a free collapse on the Udyr because we get the flank off there. Rengar kite away very efficiently there, and then he comes back up and helps me secure the kill. So this is just like that second option where you have that engage potential with Rengar, and you can use your ult to lurk up for picks, or you can also use it to bait them into fighting you, and then to get away safely, bait it back, and then turn back on them. So.
Right. So that was just us realizing the strengths of our comp and playing it as best as we could, giving. For the most part, this game was really back and forth in gold. Like, it was back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Like, one of us would get like a 500 gold advantage, and the next team would take like a 1,000 gold advantage. Like, it was extremely back and forth, so that was just us trying to execute it as best as we possibly could.
And like we said, we didn't have the best specifically like clashing team fight comp, but you can still group and make team plays based on that. You just have to play the fight accordingly so that you use the strengths of your team comp. So, but with that said, that's going to wrap it up, because like we said earlier, Jungle is pretty much over in this. It's just team fight and skirmishes and stuff like that, and we just wanted to focus on jungle commentary for that video. So hopefully it helped you guys out. Recap figure 8 clearing versus linear clearing, staying away from a jungler that's stronger than you. You know, you still need to be farming, still need to get ganks off, counter pressure, stuff like that. If you have any questions, you can always add us in game, tag us on the Facebook group page, message us in raid call, anything like that. We both do coaching for Dwight, so you can get with either of us for a jungle, mid, any role that you generally want. So, but that's going to wrap it up. So thanks for tuning in, guys, and tune in next time.